Hi and welcome. This is a fantastic opportunity to meet Vicki Owens, and she's going to be talking to us today about retirement planning, financial strategies, which we all need. We don't get enough of this. They should teach it in school, starting with first grade. We're going to be talking about removing risk and healthy living and evaluating your assets and liquidity. Wow, let's find out about that. Investing in the right retirement tools. Hi, Vicki.
Hi, Marianne. How are you? I know that was a mouthful.
That was a mouthful, but I'm telling you, we really should start in kindergarten talking about how we're going to protect ourselves, how we need to be self-sufficient. We
Yeah.
don't talk about that. We talk about, your husband's going to take care of you or your wife's going to have a great career. What about us? What about us taking care of us? How do we do that, Vicki?
Well, there's a lot of ways. The biggest thing is planning and basically, having
Planning.
a mindset to always be, to plan, be prepared for your future. Okay.
Thank you.
You really need to, plan for your future. If you want, have an idea of how you want to live, in the future, your golden years or whenever it happens, whenever you want to retire, you need to plan for it. A lot
You
of
know what I would needed when I was younger? I thought about this. If they had like a slideshow, hey,
Mhm.
this is what your life's going to look like if you let other people plan for you,
Yeah,
or you just kind of go with the flow. And this
yes,
is what your life could look like if you plan for your future. You could have this
exactly.
and you could have that, and yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So,
No
so
one ever did that for me.
yeah, no, and most people, in this day, I guess the new generation is getting better at it. They're looking at it, but so many young people, they're thinking, "Oh, retirement, that's so far away." It is for them, when they look at, when they're thinking about retiring. However, they still should plan. It's never too early. I think we talked about it the last time. It's never too early to start planning and putting away something for your future, because if you don't plan, you will fail in the future. As far as you won't have the things that you would like, you'll be, still trying to work, after your, golden years are still there. I'm right now, I'm going to be 62 this year. And, I'm teaching it, and I'm walking the walk. I'm doing what I need to do to make sure I have the right things in place for my future. I know how I want to live. I'm like, so everybody should have a vision of how they want to live in the future during their golden years. So you don't have to work the rest of your life. Don't have to be a Walmart worker, a greeter or whatever when you're in your 70s.
Isn't that funny? You both of us thought about that as we talked. If you don't plan a retirement, that's not going to be a choice. You're going to have to do something that you may or may not like in
Yes,
your
yes.
golden
Golden
years.
years. Yes, you don't want to be in that situation. Well, I mean, it's okay to do that if that's your way to get out and exercise or meet people or whatever. But you don't want to do that, then you need to plan for your future. That's the bottom line.
I
So
agree.
now the foundation of planning for your future is really, I mean, we call it financial foundation, and there are bricks to the financial your foundation, and that's basically you need to protect yourself first. Okay. Then you should basically manage your debt. In other words, have some tools in place to manage your debt. And you always have to have an emergency fund, because so many people get off track because emergencies come up and they don't have anything in place for emergencies. Okay. And then you invest.
Let
Okay.
me tell you what the emergency fund looks like for most people. Mom, I need some money. Hi, best friend in the whole world. I love you dearly. Do you have any money I can borrow? I'll pay you back. Okay. Maybe it might take me 20 years, but I will pay you back. That's what most of us look like when we don't plan.
Right. If when you don't plan, you will be in those situations. I mean, it, and that's just how people, when you don't plan, you're in those type of situations. But just remember that, like, there's four bricks to the foundation, your financial foundation, so you'll have finances in the future. Now, remember, I also work in Medicare, and so I have Medicare clients that I see, that I know plan for the future, because they're in their golden years. They've retired, and they're not worried about their finances. They just as comfortable as they want to be, and they're happy, content, they're traveling, they're doing this, they're doing that, or whatever, because they plan for the future. I don't know who sat down with them, but somebody did. And then I unfortunately have Medicare clients that, did not do the planning. They just did not do the planning, and they're okay. But I'm pretty sure some of them who have stated to me that they wish they had done things differently. Okay, so it's just everybody's different, but if you plan for your future, then you have the future retirement that you want. So envision what you want, and if you want to travel, you want to do this or whatever, then you have to have a financial foundation, and you have to have tools in place to basically set in savings, investments and things like that. But like I said, the foundation starts with protecting yourself. So what is protection? Most people, like protection. What does that mean? Protection is basically having life insurance. Okay. You have to protect yourself, protect your money, protect your assets. You have life insurance, you protect your car, you protect your house, but do you protect yourself? Most people don't think and that's the first thing they'll basically stop paying when times get tough. Okay, but you need to have life insurance. That's your protection. That's your foundation. Okay, you have to have funds. And all this is managing your money, putting money away for funding the things that you need. You want to have something in place to manage your debt. There are tools there to manage your debt. To have money in place to manage your debt. Then, of course, we just talked about emergency fund and then investments. But today we want to really focus on the whole planning and the strategies toward that, which I just did. I just gave you the foundation of your retirement planning. That's the basic. That's truly your basic strategy, is going in that step model. Protect yourself, manage your debt, have emergency fund, and then invest in your future. Okay. Um, Now, one little lesson on money I'm going to talk about is that a lot of people, the reason I say it's never too early to start planning, because when it comes down to it, we need finances to retire comfortably. Okay. And so when you have time, then you can basically build, a little nest egg, for your future. Okay. There's a formula for your finance, as far as wealth building. Okay, we call it wealth formula, and it's money plus time plus the rate of return of whatever tool you're using, minus inflation and minus taxes, and that's going to basically be your wealth. So remember, it's money plus time plus your rate of return, your rate of return. Okay, minus inflation and minus taxes, and that's going to be your wealth. I mean, what wealth you have. Okay, um, and that's, I mean, you can Google that or whatever, but that's pretty much your wealth formula. All right. So the biggest thing, what I just said, is time. You have to have time to get money to grow. Okay. And that's why I say start early. Start as early as you possibly can. But you also have to have the right tools. Okay. Now, I want to talk about some of the investment tools people hear about all the time, or your IRAs, your 401ks, your 403bs, 457s, and things like that. Your laugh. What's so funny about
Well, it's like 455 to me. That doesn't mean anything to people like me. I'm like, huh?
it? Okay.
455 to 457?
Well, I'm sure you've heard of IRAs or IRAs.
I
Okay.
have. I
Okay.
have.
All right. So when you say that word, I mean, when say IRAs or IRAs, what do you think? Most people say, "Oh, it's a tax advantage," or whatever, tax deferred, and you get a kind of a tax uh, benefit when you're doing your taxes. A lot of people, put up, money into an IRA during tax season. Okay, so a IRA is a retirement tool. That's why it's a tax benefit with the IRS. Okay, the IRS has many different tools or types of products, they have numbers. They're IRS codes.
Okay, that's what you were talking about. Okay.
Right? They're IRS codes, and so you have the IRAs, and it's basically the R stands for retirement. So it's an individual retirement account. Okay. Uh,
Typically, is that for people who are in corporate America?
no, actually, IRAs are for anybody. You can have
Okay.
IRA for anybody because people who are in court, when you have an IRA, usually an IRA, you put in IRA on individually. That's why it's called an individual retirement account.
Okay.
Okay, it has nothing to do with corporate America. So anybody can have a IRA. All right,
Okay. That's good to know.
and there are two different types of IRAs. I'm going to talk about both of them, but I'll just say there's Roth, and then there's, well, actually, it's more than just two, but I'm going to talk about the Roth IRA. But there's the Roth, there's a simple, and then there's the individual, the regular IRA I just talked about. Now,
Okay.
IRA, there are tools that I know I just spilled all that out. Like you said, it was probably Greek to most people,
Uh-huh.
but they are considered tax deferred tools that you can use to save for your retirement. That's basically what they're set up to be. So we just talked about the IRS, and that's an individual retirement account. You do get it's like I said, it's tax deferred. So the money that you put into our IRA, you're not going to be taxed on it that tax year. Okay. Uh,
Okay.
so
That's good to know.
that's
So
why
it can build up and you don't have to pay taxes on it right away.
not well, you don't, yes, you don't pay taxes on it right away. However, you will take you when you start taking it out when you have to, they will make, because with those retirement tools, there is a age that you have to start taking it out, and usually that age is like 65 to 70. Well, I'll put it like this: you can start at 59 and a half, you can start withdrawing from those types of the retirement accounts. At 70 they kind of make you, because it's just like Social Security. Social Security is a pension plan for most Americans who basically paid into it, and you have to really start taking it out when you're 70. So you can't when you hit 62 with Social Security, you can basically start taking it out. But you're not going to get the full amount for the Social Security, because Social Security is a big annuity. It's just an annuity for the whole country or whatever. For people, for citizens, I should say, for United States citizens. So if you paid into Social Security, then you will receive that. You'll start receiving your. You'll be eligible to start receiving your. Social Security, or I don't want to say pension, but your Social Security uh, at the age of 62, where you won't be penalized. Okay, all right. So, and that's actually one of the tools I was going to talk. Well, that's an automatic tool. Most people look at Social Security, they're taking it out. It's automatic. It's almost like Uncle Sam is making you put some money away, for your retirement. All right. So, but most pension plans like Social Security, I use pension, so it's sort of the America's pension plan. Most pension plans are not set up to be to be the all in all. That's your income. Okay, Social Security says that this is not the only thing you're going to use for retirement. They expect you to save, like I'm talking about, save for the future. They're expecting you to not live off your Social Security when you get to your golden years. That's why you should be saving. Social Security would add to that, but you should start saving and look toward. I'm going to talk about this too, a lifetime income. So you have to use the right tools, in your planning. You have to strategize, and you sit down with a financial advisor and basically talk about your situation. Talk about what your goals are, and what you want your future to look like. Even though I say it's never too early, I also agree that it's never too late if you've done certain things. Okay. If you've done certain things in your life, and at least you're thinking about it. Okay. Now back
Right.
to the different tools. There are tax deferred tools, and then there are tax advantage tools. So IRAs are tax deferred tools, like I said, that you put away and you don't pay taxes on then at that time. However, when you start drawing that money in that, from that account, you will pay taxes on it. So it's tax deferred.
They're going to get you one
They're
way or
going to
another.
get it one way or the other, and you have to think about. And Uncle Sam loves the fact that you're deferring your money and you're putting it away and saving. They're giving you those benefits, and as far as tax, benefits, so you don't have to pay for it then. So, but think about this: when you get ready to take it out, you have more money when you're taking it out than you did when you were putting it in. And
Right.
so, of course, Michael Sam is what? Getting a bigger chunk of what you saved. So you're not paying for it now, but you pay for it later, and it's going to be bigger. Okay. So is that really a tax advantage? Maybe, maybe not. So there are ways to kind of like beat that too. So, but the other tools that are tax deferred like ours are 401ks. Now that's what you were thinking about when you say corporate America, because most 401ks, most, but not all. And I'm not sure in this time, during this time, if companies are changing it, but most 401ks are while you're in corporate America. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So they're taking, it's tax deferred again, because they're taking money from your paycheck. Okay. As you're working, and they're putting it, it's going toward, when I say they, you are saying they can basically put this money away before it's taxed into a 401k and let that money grow and build. Okay. That
Okay.
401ks are with corporate America. What is called the 403b is the same thing as a 401k. It's just a different tax code, and it's for organizations that are typical nonprofit organizations, such as the teacher, other words, teachers, the teachers retirement system, or the school districts and things like that across the country. Those are considered nonprofit type of companies. Boy Scouts of America is an example. But anything that's a nonprofit company, those employees who work for those nonprofit organizations, and that's nonprofit is not the only one you can get a 403b with, but that's just the best example I can tell you. Then you can put money away while you're still working. You put money into those accounts, and that's tax deferred. They're tax deferred types of accounts to save for your
Okay. All right.
all of it, and they're going to have different interest rates and things like that. The 457 is another one that basically you can use toward, putting away. These are just tax codes, IRS tax codes. They've labeled with, for different how they are categorized these types of accounts, but they're all tax deferred tools. Okay. Let's see, pensions. What, like I talked about, Social Security being the big pension for the citizens, but teachers get pensions, military we get pensions, civil servants have pensions. We're all putting money into these pension programs. That, but they are tax deferred as well, so you will pay taxes on those types of savings plans for your future in retirement. Okay, I don't know why I want to say. Do you have any questions? but, but I'm
I
like,
I actually do because everybody's different.
mm-hmm.
And what you're saying is, you have all these tools and everything. So where do you come involved in how I handle all this? What is it that you offer that's going to help me figure out what I need?
Well, basically, what I do, I'm like like I said, I'm a financial, planner or advisor. Is I help you manage these tools and figure out which one is going to be the best.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere because that's a lot of information that I wouldn't know what to do with.
Yeah, most people don't, because you would have to really do your research and
And it sounds
study.
like you have. You've been
Yeah.
doing this research, so you're the expert that can help us. So how would you go about doing that,
Well,
especially now with COVID and everything?
well, I actually sit down with, I'm doing it now with, with teachers, and I sit down and we analyze or evaluate what you have. Okay. You know, what is that? Okay. But we analyze what your situation. In other words, I do a financial needs analysis. That's how you start. Okay. We do a
Right.
financial needs analysis, and we establish exactly, where your money is, what your debt is, what investments you have already, and what, is there any hidden money, so to speak, that you're not aware of. What is your savings like? What is your lifestyle right now, and what do you need to do to change your lifestyle to really get to the goals that you want to reach for the future. Okay, that's what I do, and it's called financial needs analysis. We sit down and really dive deep into what's going on with your life, that your family, your finances right now, and how do we basically plan for the future? What tools are going to be best for you at this time? That's going to be able, that's going to help you, build your nest egg, so to speak. That you're going to have a retirement income for the rest of your life. My goal is to have put in place that you're going to have a retirement income for the rest of your life. You know, so everything I just talked about, all those tools are great because they are basically savings types of tools that they're IRS codes for you to put away money that you won't get taxed on. They're tax deferred tools for retirement. Okay, now that answer your question?
Yeah,
Okay,
it really does help because it gets overwhelming when you start talking about all those numbers and all those different choices and tools. I'm thinking to myself, okay, you
yeah.
know,
Well, the other
just
thing that I wanted to talk, I know it can be confusing. Unfortunately, I'm going to throw some more at you.
okay, here we go. I'm ready.
So we talked about those are tax deferred tools, and they are you can most of them you can put in like the 401ks, 403bs, those you put in while you're working. As long as you're working and you're not retired, you can basically put into those tools. Okay.
Okay,
Uh, Now we're going to talk about what I call tax advantage tools, in that
okay,
they are tools that they come out of your pretty much they are the money that's going into these tools are already taxed, and so you've already paid taxes on them, but now you're putting them into a tool that will gain you retirement income. Some will be gain you retirement income for the rest of your life, depending on what tool you put it into. But they when you take the money out, it's not taxed. Okay, all right, because you've already been taxed on it. Okay, so you're saving money that's already been taxed. So when you get ready to take it out, it's not you're not paying taxes on it. When so it's all about when you want to pay taxes on it. Pay tax. You're going to pay taxes. It's the thing. The question is, when do you want to pay? You want to pay the big amount, you know, at the end when you're not paying it in the beginning, or you want to pay a smaller amount in the beginning and not pay any at the end. A tax advantage tool is like that. Okay, you're not paying the
okay,
big tax at the end. You're not paying taxes at the end. You're paying the smaller tax in the beginning. Okay.
okay,
Okay. So those are that's how you should look at the tools you use for retirement. And like I said, when I sit down with you, these are the tools that you'll have access to. We talk about each one of them, which is going to be the best for you.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we evaluate, and it's going to be a team concept. But since I will be the expert, I'll tell you which ones are going to be best, and you have to make a decision which one you want to go to. Because I can advise you all I want to, but if you say, "Well, I don't really want to do that," I can't do anything.
It's up to me. That's right. But you can guide us and let us know the pitfalls. Like I didn't realize that there was a difference between, tax deferment and tax advantage. That it was never explained to me like that. You did a really good job making me understand what it is that you're talking about. So thank you for that.
You're quite welcome. That's what I'm here
Yeah.
for. That's what I'm.
Yay.
Well, we talked about doing the financial needs analysis, and that's kind of like the next area I was talking about. I was going to go into evaluating your assets and what you have that's liquid. You have to, in
And
now.
I was going to sign up for that because I think that's very important. And then we had this bad storm and we've had COVID and things, but things seem to be getting better now. So how do I go about signing up for that?
Well, basically, you make an appointment with me, and we set up a time that we can basically meet and talk about it. We do it through Zoom. I basically do most of my appointments now via Zoom. Uh,
Okay, so we don't do it ahead of time. We do it with you.
yes, you do it with me. You do it with
Okay, well, that's even better.
Yeah, you do it. You should do it with me. You will. What I always want, because a lot of people, depending on what someone who's 20 years old is coming to me to say, okay, I heard you, I'm going to start early. Most of those
Yes.
people don't have a lot, so they haven't basically invested in any of the tools yet, so I wouldn't expect them to bring what they have. But someone who is, say 40 years old or mid 40s or whatever, I expect someone who's that age has already invested, put something away, had started some type of savings, especially if they're in corporate America. They have a 401k. But a lot of people don't understand that. I was going to talk, one of the things I was going to discuss is they're different, and we're not going to be able to get into it today because we don't have a lot of time left. But they're different. All the tools that I talked about, um, you know, there are options for those, options for your money, as we call it, as far as they're going to be a variable account or they're going to be an index account. Okay. And most 401ks are variable. So your money is tied to the stock market. And so one of the things I really want to talk to right now, I'm gonna just jump over the other thing, but is you want to remove your risk when it comes to retirement. Okay. And one of the risks is taxes. Okay. You want to, you don't want, that's why the tax advantage tools are a lot better because, you're removing that tax risk when you get older, where you're not going to have these high, have a lot of money that's taxed. Okay. So that's the tax risk. You want to remove your risk. The second, risk is the market risk. In other words, when you have assets tied to market accounts, such as IRAs or 401ks. You want to basically try to find accounts that don't have those market risks where your money, maybe it is, there your money's in those, but it's an index account. That's the one I always use because your money might be tied in it, but it's such a way index or such a way that you don't lose with an index account, but you will gain. So when the market falls, you don't lose. It's a floor. You don't gain anything, but you don't lose. But when the market moves up or goes up, then you gain. Okay. So there's, because
Sounds
there's,
like a win-win.
yeah. So you have fixed accounts, the options for your money. You have fixed options where it's like banks, savings accounts, or whatever. Your money's not going to grow. Remember, we talked about the wealth formula that, you're going to have, you have to have time, interest rate, rate of return rather, but you have to have time to grow, and the rate of return has to be at least five or over for your money to grow. When you have your money in fixed types of accounts, your money is going to take forever for it to grow. And those fixed accounts are like bank savings or whatever. Because if you look at the interest rate on those, you might get a 0.2 or 0.1 or
It's
whatever.
not worth it.
It's not really your money just sitting there. Okay, all
Yeah,
right. So, um, so
not
you
worth
want
it.
it's not exactly, but whole life. A lot of people get whole life insurance. It's the same thing. You have a fixed rate of return when your cash value in your whole life, and most of those are not over 4%. You need to have at least a 5% rate of return on your money for it to actually grow to beat the inflation and the what beat the inflation and
Yeah, $1,000 today is not worth what it was.
no, no,
You
not
know,
not at all. So you want to basically, like I said, remove the risk, tax risk as well as the market risk, um, and you want to basically put your money in accounts that are going to grow, not stay stagnant, so to speak. Okay.
I do remember a time when I thought $1,000 a month, and man, I'm going to live a good life for my retirement. I
Yeah.
remember thinking that, and I'm thinking today, it's like $1,000 a month. I couldn't live on that.
But okay, yeah, no, because as time goes, inflation continues. It's just
That's
taxes
right.
going to increase. We just things just are things are, it's called progress, but it costs more to live longer.
Yeah,
I'll
I was
talk.
watching the news just this morning, and they said because of all the freeze that Texas has, we supply a lot of fruits and vegetables, and it's going to go up because a lot of stuff froze. And what are we going to do? We're going to have to get it from other sources, which means more money. It's going to take more money to get that to us.
Yes, yes, yes. So
So that's really how inflation starts, right? Is we have disasters and
most of the time
reasons.
yeah, most of the time that's how it starts. You have some type of disaster, or the inflation starts because the market is not doing well. You know, it's like you'll have issues where when the market's not doing well, well they'll have to you'll see increase in all kinds of rates and things like that because
Right,
people not trying to save and everything, to for the disaster that's about to happen.
right.
So you're going to have inflated, inflation will come about. But I see that we have hit our limit. I didn't get the chance to finish everything. I did want to talk about a little bit more about the different tools that are there, and how they work, and which ones that are, we kind of tipped on it, but I wanted to go a little bit more detail on it. But we can do that the next time.
I was just going to say that's why we're here every week because we have so much to talk about. And you're just a wealth of information, Vicki. I appreciate you being here. Helping us plan for our future is so important. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube or Facebook, remember, you can also listen to us on the podcast. So we do have a podcast for if you want to take us in your car, if you want to, while you're walking the dog or doing your laundry, you can put your earbuds in and listen to Vicky's advice on how to plan for our future. One more time, I'm going to, for those of you who are listening on the podcast, I'm going to give you some information right now verbally so that you can write this down and get a hold of Vicky because I think it's important. I'm making an appointment with her to do this. Tell us again what it is that we're signing up for.
Or you
An
want to do
analysis.
you want to do a financial needs analysis.
Okay.
Everyone should do. I don't whether your advisor, who if you have an advisor already, a financial planner or advisor already, they should be doing a financial needs analysis with you at least once a year, because things happen in your life and they change. So
There
every
you go.
advisor needs to know that so they can make adjustments into however they've set up your planning. Your
Okay.
planning.
So for those of us who need Vicky, we're going to call 713-444-3269 and we're going to sign up for this financial needs assessment. It's not going to hurt. It's only going to help. Thank you so much, Vicky, and we'll see you again next week.
All right. Bye bye. See you next week.
Bye for now.